friends, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade by Hallmark. We are on card number 4 of my Christmas in July series for this year, and I wanted to create an almost all die cut scene card for you today using this fun die set from HoneyBee Stamps. It's mostly die cuts except for the greeting, and I had a lot of fun creating it. I hope you enjoy. Let's get into it. So this die set has a lot of tiny little kind of intricate dies to work with, so I did all of my die cutting ahead of time just to save some time in the video and to save my own sanity when it comes to fiddly dies. So I think I've mentioned this before in my series that I'm not one for small die cuts or anything that's super kind of tedious, but I really wanted to give this die a chance, this die set a chance, and really work with it, and I really did enjoy it. It did take me quite a long time to get these put together just because they are so tiny and you really have to kind of fiddle with them to get them all in the right place, but in the end it is definitely worth it. This card turned out really wonderful. I love the way that it looks, and I love all the colors that I chose, and you can definitely mix and match this with any colors and fun things that you've got going on. Again, this was really easy. Going through and die cutting everything in advance and seeing all of the dies and seeing how they work together was definitely a game changer. This first little building here is a church, and I decided to add the lights, or the yellow pieces that you see later after I had this one built, just because I felt like it gave me a little bit more stability whenever I was adding the trim to the windows. So this first one, I put everything on before I added the yellow behind to act as lighting. So it took me a little bit longer and a little, I had to fiddle a little bit more with things, but in the end, I really did like the way that this turned out. I did speed this part of the video up a little bit because, again, it is a little tedious just kind of building up these dies, and I love that there are so many different ways that you can add color in different places. I tried to make all of the doors red, and I wanted to have accents of blues, greens, and browns. Those are just some of my favorites when it comes to Christmas cards. I feel like these colors all go really well together along with gray. I love the way this little church turned out, and here's where I decided to add the yellow cardstock behind. I just kind of fiddled around and played and trimmed up some paper to get it to fit. Now, you could easily, have cut this out ahead of time, but I wasn't thinking until after I had it all built, and I love the way that it looked. Super cute, fun little house. Next, I'm going to work on the little log cabin. I think these would look really cute if you added some dimension with some Copic markers maybe, and did a little bit of shading on some of the houses just to give them a little bit of interest. Again, that's definitely an option. You don't have to do that. These look so nice without just kind of building the dies. I don't think I would do this as like a mass production set of dies or a set of cards, just because it is very time consuming and a lot of die cutting and those sorts of things. But if you're feeling ambitious and you've got lots of time, I think these would make really cute cards if you made a whole bunch of these little houses kind of all in one go, maybe worked on them over a couple of days or something like that, and then built your bases for your cards. I think it will work out great because my background is just a piece of pattern paper. I believe is also from a HoneyBee stamp set or HoneyBee set, so that saves some time as well by just using some pattern paper, a simple hill, and you can build quite a few of these cards. Working on the last house here, I wanted this one to be a nice blues and aqua colors. I felt like those went really well together. Again, all of these are die cut just from some scraps that I had in my scrap bin. These kinds of die sets are really a fun way, an easy way to use up any kind of scrap piles that you've got kind of laying around and you're not really sure what to do with them. These sorts of dies are the perfect way to use those up. I went through so many scraps to build these up, which was fantastic. I was really happy I got through some of those. So again, if you're into working with fiddly dies and doing these kinds of building up of dies and doing all die cut cards, this is a great way to use up some of those things. I love the way that this little house turned out. I didn't think I was going to like it, but once I started building up the colors and put that little red door on there and the other trim, I think it worked out beautifully. All these colors went really nicely together. And then I'm going to add the little roofs here on the top. And it also comes with a couple of trees and some snowdrifts that you can add to the houses, and so I decided to do that. I added some snow to the church and those sorts of things. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can add snow to these houses. So you can definitely use the die cuts that come in the set, which is an easy and quick way to do it. Or you could use some sort of like liquid or anything like that. Just add some glue, sprinkle on some glitter, and you've got a nice sparkly snow. You could do Nouveau drops in Simply White, which I think would look really, really pretty. Just have to wait for that time, that drying time. But I wouldn't do anything like that if you're going to use a liquid type of snow. I wouldn't do any of that until you have your houses attached to your card base, just so you don't have to worry about it dripping kind of off, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to finish putting on some of these little snow drifts. I was going for an almost completely die cut card. Again, the only other thing that is not die cut on this is the greeting, and I do eventually die cut it. So it's the only stamped thing. Everything else is die cut. The background, the snowdrift that all these little houses are sitting on. So I don't do very many of these, again, because you guys know I'm not a huge fan of working with small dies, but I love the way that these turned out. Maybe if I'm feeling ambitious, I will maybe do another one, maybe for a close family friend or something like that. So again, they also have some trees in this set. They also have some cute little lampposts, which I think would be a fun addition. Some wreaths that you can add to the doors, but those ones are super tiny, and I didn't know if my patience would be able to handle that. So I just decided to keep it simple this time around, and maybe I can do one for my church and just do the church and add some of the accessory images around it. I think that would be a cute card. Now that I have all those done, I'm going in with my aqua shimmer pen and adding some shine to those snowdrifts and some of the smoke coming out of the houses. Again, just to add some sparkle and shine, give it some interest. Once I have all those done, I can kind of get my station cleaned up because I had scrap pieces everywhere. I had little bits laying everywhere. So here's my card base, and I do apologize that it didn't zoom out. I don't catch it until a little bit later. But again, this is just a piece of pattern paper. I believe it's from a HoneyBee stamp set, or stamp set. I keep saying stamp set. I'm so sorry, guys. A HoneyBee paper pack. You could use any kind of pattern paper that you have. I just really like this because I like the snow. It did have some trees on it as well below it there, but I'm going to cover that up with this Simple Hill I cut out of some cardstock and with the stitched hillside die that I had, and I just loved the background, the simple snowy background, and adding the trees. So I'm just kind of playing around with my placement here on where I liked everything. And I do end up changing my mind because I always do. Once I put it in place and then I go to glue everything down, it ends up finding a new home. So here you can see I'm kind of playing around. I wanted to kind of keep things nice and even. I didn't want one side heavier than the other because these are, the main focus of the card here. And I'm going to adhere the tree down nice and flat. Everything I think it's adhered down nice and flat, except for maybe a couple of the trees at the front. Get that little church adhered right in the middle there. Love the way that that looks. Super cute. And I do love all the dimension that you get on this card. It does create for a really fun effect and interesting card. Get this little log cabin adhered down. I think this set would look really nice with some of the new pattern paper they came out with their summer release. I think it was called Adventure. It's their Adventure release. It has lots of really kind of like woodsy, outdoorsy type stuff. So I think these little houses will look really, really cute with some of those pattern papers. So here's where I decided I'm going to add a tiny bit of foam adhesive to the back of these final trees, just to pop them up because there is so much dimension behind them. I wanted to make sure that they were popped up nicely and they, you know, they didn't get kind of stuck on there funny. So get this last little tree adhered down. I'm just using some foam adhesive squares from a scrapbook. That one didn't quite stick right. I'm not sure what was going on with this one. I was having a little bit of trouble with it. I'll get that adhered down. There we go. Looks great. Now I'm going to work on my greeting. Going to be stamping down on some Schoolhouse red cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and this is the Christmas Blessings stamp set. This came out last year and I wanted to get my hands on it so badly because it is just so pretty, and it comes with a coordinating die set so you can cut out all of these beautifully scripted and text greetings. So I'm really glad I got a chance to pick that up and use it for my series this summer and for in the winter. So gonna get that stamped down using some embossing ink from Versamark, and I'm going to use my Brutus Monroe Alabaster White embossing powder to emboss this greeting. And it just says, wishing you peace. My husband actually picked out this greeting. I was having a hard time picking something that I thought would look nice on here, and I asked his opinion and he picked this one, and I felt like it was a really great greeting that went with this little scene I had going on. Gonna get that embossed, get my stamp put away so that I can work on some other elements of my card. I really hope you guys are enjoying the series so far this year. I had so much fun creating it. I was getting really excited about getting started. You know, as soon as July hits, once it's over, we're rolling into August, which means we're rolling into the fall cards. Then we're rolling back around into Christmas, which is my favorite time. So this is a really great way to get a jump start on your Christmas cards and to get some ideas rolling. This is just an insert that I have that I cut out using my stitched stack dies from MFT for the inside of my card, and I am using some inside greetings from another stamp set from Simon Says, and this one just says Happy Christmas, and I'm going to stamp it down using some of my MFT red ink. I wanted to kind of give this it a try. I haven't used much of the red ink yet, and it stamps beautifully. I love the way that it looks, and it says Happy Christmas from our family to yours, which I felt was really great with this kind of style of card as well. So I'm going to get my stamp all cleaned off. It only stained just a little bit, but you know that is a good quality stamp and good quality inks whenever you get a little bit of staining, so don't be worried about that at all. Now that I have all of my elements ready to go, I got my small greeting die cut, which I just love. As you guys know, I love die cut greetings. I kind of fiddled with where I wanted to place it then, and I was like, maybe off to the side, but then it kind of throws off the balance, but I felt like it looked really nice up top, fit really well with that greeting. Gonna pop that up using some of those same scrapbook adhesive foam squares just to kind of pop it up a little bit, and then I'm going to get in here the inside greeting, make sure it's nice and dry as well, because I did stamp it down twice. It is dye ink, but anytime you kind of double stamp, you want to make sure that it's nice and dry. Gonna go in with my favorite snowflakes. These are the Tailored Expression Snowdrifts, and I am going to be using just the small ones in this card today, just to kind of fill in some empty space, add a little bit more dimension, because you know I can't resist using these snowflakes. They are my favorite. Gonna add just a tiny bit more glitter here on my greeting. Make sure I get just enough, because you know, guys know I love my glitter as well. Add a little bit to the snow underneath the houses, again, just to add a little bit of shine. Now I'm going to adhere my greeting to the inside, and that will finish up this card for today. I really hope you enjoyed this all, or almost all, die cut card featuring some great products from HoneyBee Stamps. If you did, please consider hitting that like button. It lets YouTube know you're enjoying all of the content. And if you hit the subscribe and the notification bell, you'll be notified every time I upload a video, especially during my Christmas in July series. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you guys again real soon. Bye!
On screen, I've got a few videos that I think you'll enjoy. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos at my YouTube channel.